Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi has announced his resignation. His decision comes as exit polls suggest a large defeat in the referendum on cabinet-backed constitutional reform, which was held on Sunday. CCTV's Parkinson reports from Rome.
Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi on Sunday asked for the power to change Italy. For him, the vote was a one-time opportunity to radically reform Italy's flawed institutions. Renzi has been campaigning that his reforms would streamline Parliament, speed up the cumbersome lawmaking process and bring political stability to Italy, which has seen 60 governments in the past 70 years. But an overwhelming majority of people who voted rejected his proposals.
I tried to convince several of my friends that were thinking to vote no, to vote yes, because I think that it's a way to change something. It's not the best reform, but it's a good start.
These reforms are not well done. Yes, we must have reforms, but it must be done well, intelligently.
All opposition parties had lined up against the reform, but the loudest voice in the no camp was this man, Beppe Grillo. A former comedian turned politician, Grillo leads the anti-establishment 5-Star movement, which hopes that this result will propel it to win the next election and re-evaluate Italy's relationship with Europe. Matteo Renzi, the young, energetic centre-left reformist who took office in 2014, staked his political career and the future of Italy on Sunday's referendum. But in the early hours of Monday morning, following his crushing defeat, he announced his resignation. "The experience of my government ends here," he said. And in the year that saw the British vote to leave the European Union and the Americans to elect Donald Trump, Italy became the latest domino to fall as anti-establishment voting gathers momentum around the world. Kate Parkinson, CCTV, Rome.
Let's discuss this further with Ziad Akil, Professor of Political Science and analyst at Ahram Center for Strategic Studies. So, Italy has been at the center of the immigration crisis from North and Sub-Saharan Africa. What do these latest developments mean for Africa in this sense?
Well, of course, we have to look at these recent developments, specifically with the vote in Italy, as a part of an overall policy in Europe that is based on anti-open immigration, which means that most European countries in the coming period will start negotiating with African countries about the issue of immigration, basically with transit countries, with host countries, and this means probably an expansion in military cooperation, in border security cooperation. These recent developments basically mean that there is a whole new range of mutual agreements and bilateral cooperation that's going to happen between Africa and specifically Western Southern Europe.
And what can Africa expect from Italy going forward in terms of trade and even aid?
Well, of course, the Italian Prime Minister Renzi was one of the most enthusiasts about development in Africa. He was very concerned on an economic relationship between Italy and Africa. But actually, these interests are not related to the individual of the Prime Minister. These interests are core interests that the Italians want to seek in the coming period. I think that Italian businesses want to expand their cooperation with African markets, and at the same time, the human security approach in fighting immigration will mean that Europe will invest in development in Africa more and more in order to enhance the economic conditions that cause immigration, which means that there is more economic development and cooperation in the coming period that Italy, Germany, and France will be leading with Africa in the coming 2 years.
All right, Ziad Akil, live for us there in Cairo. Many thanks.